Sales at randyradio.com for more information. IllinoisJobPost.com is where we put the power of radio and the internet to attract prospective candidates.
Hey, this is Todd Gleason from Illinois Extension here with a time change for our daily market report on WHOW. You can now catch our daily review of the commodity markets at 5:06 on all of WHOW's many platforms. You'll still hear all of our commodity analysts and weather professionals each afternoon, but at a brand new time. And you'll still hear the weekly wrap-up of the commodity markets right here on WHOW when Commodity Week airs Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Remember the time change for the daily closing market report on WHOW at our new time, 5:06 p.m. weekdays.
7 minutes after 8 o'clock is news time on the WHOW Morning Show. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast, streaming to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. During the winter months, many turn their minds towards summer, and school administration is no different. Dr. Hillary Stanifer is the superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools and notes summer school was started a couple of years ago to help students who had fallen behind due to online learning and the COVID pandemic. She says she has been talking with administration and teachers to see if summer school was something worthwhile to continue.
Yes, we've spent the last month or so looking forward into the summer months and trying to figure out, we don't want to just do the same programming that we have for the last couple of months last years, just because we've done that for the last couple of years. We want to really look and evaluate to make sure that it was worthwhile.
Dr. Stanifer indicates the district is looking to implement a new summer school curriculum that has the potential to be more flexible, where work could be completed independently by the student, then reviewed by the teacher.
We do have a new program called iReady, and we are looking at the possibility of doing a little bit more flexible summer school programming, where some of it might be done by a student independently at home, and then maybe making some connections with teachers on a individually scheduled basis with a teacher at school. Some of our ideas are connecting with either a STEM club or a 4-H club and complementing that with some of our iReady work for some of our intermediate grades. So those are some of the ideas that were thrown around, and we're trying to connect that with teacher availability too.
Summer school would potentially be held a few weeks before the start of the new school year, with an emphasis placed on core concepts students need to strengthen before starting the next grade level.
Right now, it's kind of looking at the few weeks right before the school year starts and kind of a prep for most critical concepts to be ready for the grade coming up. That's where our focus is right now.
Dr. Stanifer hopes to have a decision on summer school finalized within the next few months. Recently on regional radio, we've heard from area superintendents on their thoughts about the sex ed mandate that was not taken up for a vote earlier this month in a lame duck session. Today, we hear from a local lawmaker and her thoughts on the future of the bill. State Senator Sally Turner reminds the curriculum was passed and over 70% of school districts in Illinois decided to opt out of the curriculum. The mandate was a way for progressive Democrats to push their agenda.
70% of the schools didn't implement the portion of it that they wanted implemented. And Senator Villavam, somewhere in the Collier counties or up in Chicago, I'm not sure where he's from, he brought that out, wanted to make sure that they were teaching that. In an executive committee, most of the senators, all of the Republicans, I should say, but most of the Democrat senators didn't want to see that come out, that mandate. And it was voted out of executive committee, but never saw the light of day on the floor. And I think most of the reason for that is some of those Democrat senators did not want to burden the teachers anymore. And also, I think they heard from their constituents that said, enough is enough. We'll teach our kids at home what they need to know.
Senator Turner applauds the religious community for lobbying and protesting the mandate due to the graphic nature of the curriculum. She believes the bill will not be called for a vote in the new legislative session due to pushback from Democrats at the committee level.
When I read that, one of those books that would have been allowed, when I looked at that, I thought, heck, I don't even know what half those things are.
Yeah.
And I'm 60 old. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. And I put the call out to a lot of our religious community who did a great job of just calling the president's office and other legislators that would have brought that forth. And they did a really good job. And so hopefully they were able to be a part of stopping that from coming forward. But, you know, I just don't think that we're going to see that rear its ugly head in this next session, just because it wasn't greeted with open arms in that executive committee by all the Democrat senators.
The purpose of the mandate, Senator Turner believes, is because some lawmakers felt not enough schools were using the curriculum. She notes in her previous district, only one school chose to use portions of it.
I have no clue how some of these folks come up with these things and the ideas in their heads. Sometimes it's just like, oh, where did that come from? So I will say that, but I think probably the reason why they were bringing it back out was only 70% of the schools in Illinois decided to use that curriculum and teach that. In my past district that I just had, only one school in my entire district decided to use some of that curriculum. So I think it was, again, just a way that they were using to push an agenda that they wanted to be done without looking at what the best interests of kids or teachers were.
Area superintendents were glad to see the mandate not be taken up in the lame duck session, but many did not share the same sentiments regarding the future of the mandate as Senator Turner. If you're a parent of a picky eater or have questions about what to feed a newborn, the U of I Extension is encouraging you to check out one of their online resources. Caitlin Mellendorf is a U of I Extension nutrition educator for DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. She indicates Feeding My Baby is an online website launched a few years ago by a fellow Extension nutrition educator. It offers recipes for homemade baby food as well as research on baby-led weaning.
Infant-led weaning, and this is a newer approach to feeding babies that lets them take charge. So you might put a piece of food in front of them and let them touch it, mush it up, take it to their mouth, kind of gum on it, because most young babies aren't going to have teeth yet, so they're going to just kind of gum on it, and letting them kind of learn and explore their food rather than the adult or the parent spoon feeding their kid. And this is a really interesting approach because it gives kids a lot more agency over what they're putting in their mouth. It is also shown to help with picky eating.
Mellendorf says baby-led weaning is best started when your baby is ready to start eating solid food. She gives an example of how you might introduce food to your baby.
If you've got a pretty young kid, so if you're gonna put an apple in front of them. Now you're not going to give them, especially a young baby, a really hard apple. What you might do for something like a 6-month-old to a 9-month-old, you might cut that apple in half, peel off the skin of the apple, peel out the core and the seeds, and you're going to cook it. So maybe you can microwave it, you can put it in a pot of water just to soften it up. And then you're going to offer that apple to your 6 to 9-month-old, and they can just kind of gum on it. It might be soft enough for the apple that they can swallow some small pieces. And I know that hearing this might really scare some parents. They're thinking, what if my little baby chokes on this? But actually, the bigger the piece, the safer it tends to be. So something like grapes, I think a lot of parents have heard about being really a choking hazard. Mm-hmm. And so that's partially because it's a small piece of food. It's very round, which can unfortunately get caught in baby's airway. So actually something really large, like a half of an apple that's soft and cooked, is a good way for kids to explore food.
6 months is generally when babies are ready to transition from formula and breast milk to solid food. Mellendorf notes, though, every baby is different, with some ready before or after 6 months. She says there are signs to be on the lookout for to know if your baby is ready.
Now, another question is my baby ready to eat? And so the general thought is about 6 months is when we might transition away from breast milk and formula over to solid foods. But you might have a baby that is a little bit more ready at maybe 5 months, or you might have a baby that's not really so ready until maybe like 8 months. And that's totally normal. That can be very normal for every baby, just a little bit different.
If you are worried about your baby or child not eating, or is an extremely picky eater, Mellendorf recommends consulting a pediatric nutritionist or a feeding therapist. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace now offers free assembly and free delivery, so it's never been easier to get a great grill for your family, like a Weber gas grill, a Traeger wood pellet grill, or a Big Green Egg charcoal grill. Only at your neighborhood Ace. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know their grills.
This is Brad from Gibson Ace Hardware in Clinton, Illinois. Stop in to see us, The Helpful Place, at 114 North Madison Street, Clinton.
See participating store for details.
At Covenant Animal Clinic, your hometown vet in Clinton, we're thanking all of our customers for another great year. Hi, this is Dr. Sue Stir. We want to thank our great customers this past year for trusting Covenant Animal Clinic to care for your pets. Click our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com to learn how we can serve you in the coming year.
By leveraging sustainable carbon management solutions like Navigator CO2's Heartland Greenway, ethanol facilities can make substantial progress toward carbon reduction objectives. Learn more on how they're partnering with ethanol producers across the Corn Belt. Click their icon at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Let's swing open the farm gate together every day on WHOW. I'm Stu Ellis, your host of the long-running agriculture feature called The Farm Gate. I bring the latest news and information on where agriculture is and where it's going to WHOW Ag listeners several times a day. From tariffs to treaties, from the Board of Trade to the running board on your truck, I cover Central Illinois agriculture every day on the Farm Gate. Hear it all on WHOW's many platforms, on the radio or online. Join me, Stu Ellis, for the Farm Gate.
With SRN Sports, I'm Jim Bartow. A person with knowledge of the pact tells the Associated Press that the Denver Broncos have agreed to a deal with the New Orleans Saints to hire Sean Payton as their head coach. The person says the Broncos will send a first-round pick in this year's draft and a future second-rounder to the Saints in order to get Payton in Denver. The Saints will send a third-round pick to the Broncos. Payton stepped down as the Saints coach last year but remained under contract with the team. D'Amico Ryans has been hired as coach of the Houston Texans, giving him his first head coaching job and bringing him back to the place where he started his playing career. Ryans joins the Texans from the San Francisco 49ers, where he spent the past 2 seasons as their defensive coordinator. Atlanta Falcons coach Arthur Smith has continued to reshape his defensive staff by hiring Jerry Gray as the assistant head coach for defense. The 60-year-old Gray had been Green Bay's defensive backs coach. This is SRN Sports. Longtime University of California women's swimming coach Terry McKeever has been fired following an investigation into alleged harassment, bullying, and verbally abusive conduct. McKeever led the Golden Bears to 4 NCAA team titles over 29 years. She coached the U.S. women's swim team at the Olympics in 2012, the first woman to serve in that role. Batting champion Jeff McNeil and the New York Mets have finalized a $50 million 4-year contract that prevents a salary arbitration hearing. The deal includes a $15.75 million club option for 2027. A 2-time All-Star, McNeil led the majors with a .326 batting average last season. Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers says he does not expect to make a decision on whether to play next season until after the Super Bowl. The 39-year-old Rodgers has said he is still making up his mind on whether he wants to return to the Packers for a 19th season, retire, or request a trade. This is SRN Sports.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. In a game heard on 95.9 FM WEZC and at DeWittDailyNews.com, a second quarter where Monticello logged 4 points and 0 field goals saw Trey Welter come alive with 13 of his game-high 16 points in the second half, leading Monticello past Rantoul 47-39 in Illini Prairie Conference high school boys basketball action from Rantoul. Monticello opened the game strong, 12-6 after the first, thanks to 5 early points from Tyler Blythe and a Welter three-pointer, but the well dried up and the athleticism of Rantoul took over as the Eagles posted a 14-4 second quarter, including a 9-2 run to open the frame. Welter opened the third, though, scoring the first 9 points to help Monticello go up 27-25 at the 3:40 mark of the third. The two sides went back and forth the rest of the way. Monticello led 30-29 after 3 quarters. In the fourth, Welter hit a jumper, then found Drew Shepard on 2 nifty passes to put the Sages up 36-35. Monticello went just 4 for 9 from the foul line in the first half, but made just enough free throws down the stretch to put the game away. Welter's 16 points earned him the Serve Pro of Hyatt DeWitt County's player of the game. Blythe finished with 9 for Monticello. Zeus Brundage led Rantoul with 12 points and a game-high 8 boards. Jackson Atkins had 11 points. The Eagles fall to 7-18 overall and 2-3 in the Illini Prairie. Monticello moves to 14-9 overall and 4-3 in conference action. The Sages are off until Saturday when they travel to Williamsville for the Illini Prairie Sangamo Conference Shootout, taking on Petersburg. Porta. Tip time Saturday is 1:30. Hear the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. The Maroa-Forsyth Trojans started fast, then shut down Illini Central in the third quarter to roll to a 64-48 Sangamo Conference High School boys basketball victory Tuesday from Mason City. Grant Smith scored 8 of his 16 points in the first quarter, helping stake the Trojans to a 23-17 lead after 1. The Trojans held its 6-point advantage going to the break 36-30. The Cougars struggled in the third, and Maroa-Forsyth pulled out to a 53-32 lead after 3 and were uncontested the rest of the way. Smith's game-high 16 points paints a balanced scoring attack for the Trojans. A.J. Massey drilled 5 three-pointers on his way to 15 points, and Caden Maurer added 10. The Trojans go to 12-12 overall and even the Sangamo mark at 2-2. Maroa-Forsyth will host Athens on Friday night in a Sangamo Conference tilt, then take on Champaign St. Thomas More Saturday in the Illini Prairie Sangamo Conference Shootout at Williamsville High School. Matthew Mayer scored 16 points to lead 4 players in double figures as Illinois beat Nebraska 72-56 Tuesday night. The 16-6 Illini won its 7th game in its last 8 tries to go to 7-4 in the Big Ten. Nebraska has now lost 4 straight. Illinois pulled away with a 15-4 run for a 63-54 lead with 5:29 to play. Sincire Harris scored 6 points with a dunk during the stretch, and Coleman Hawkins had 4 points for Illinois. Mayer was 4 of 14 from the floor and made 3 of Illinois' 5 three-pointers. Terrence Shannon Jr. had 13 points. Jaden Epps had 12. Coleman Hawkins had 10 with 8 boards. Harris also had 8 points. Sam Griesel scored 21 points on 7 of 7 shooting to lead Nebraska. The Cornhuskers shot just 40% and turned it over 19 times. Nebraska opened the game on a 12-5 run, but Illinois led 38-37 at the intermission and forced 3 turnovers out of the gate in the second half to go up 48-41. Nebraska answered a pair of 3-pointers by Kasey Tomenga and 1 from C.J. Wiltshire for their last lead at 50-48. With 12 minutes left, Illinois will play at Iowa on Saturday. Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers says he does not expect to make a decision on whether to play next season until after the Super Bowl. The 39-year-old has said he is still making up his mind on whether he wants to return to the Packers for a 19th season, retire, or also make a request to be traded. The four-time MVP has noted the possibility the Packers may want to move him, but the first decision is whether he wants to play at all. Rodgers was the league MVP in 2020 and 2021, but did not perform well this season while playing with a broken right thumb and dealing with the absence of star wideout Devontae Adams, who was traded in the offseason to the Las Vegas Raiders. Rodgers had his lowest passer rating as a starter and threw 12 interceptions, his highest single season total since 2008. The Packers went 8-9 and missed the playoffs to end a string of 3 straight NFC North titles. Rodgers was asked if he would decide on his plans and call the Packers, who would then let him know what they're thinking, and Rodgers said, "I think so." Get sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Hi there, I'm here to tell you a little about this new program called Safe to Help Illinois.
Maybe you know somebody who's being bullied, or worse, thinking about hurting themselves or others. If you don't feel safe telling an adult about the things that are happening around you, check out Safe to Help.
Safe to Help is not about snitching or getting someone in trouble. It's about helping one another out.
You can call, you can text.
You can download the free mobile app, and it's all over social media.
So what do you say? Let's give it a try.
Brought to you by IEMA.
Hey everybody, Buddy Wilson here, your new country financial agent in Clinton. We're all familiar with the 3 whats. What is it? What can you do for me? And what does it cost? At Country Financial, we can help you find the answers with insurance coverage to help you protect what matters the most, all at prices you can afford. While you're juggling work, kids, and keeping an eye on the future, we'll make sure we're one of the first ones there when you need us the most. Call me, Buddy Wilson, your newest country financial representative in Clinton at 217-935-5620. Let's chat about your insurance needs today.
This is Noah Atkinson, owner of Lincoln Printers and Sign Designs in Lincoln. Our communities thrive thanks to small businesses. That's why I'm pleased to be the exclusive sponsor of the WHOW WEZC Lincoln Printers Business of the Month.
The Flower Corner and Country Churchcraft Mall on West Route 54 in Clinton includes a full-service florist specializing in designs for any occasion. Plus, the Craft Mall featuring crafts, candles, quilts,